So this one was very new, very different, and really got under my skin. I think I fished it quite hard for probably the best part of 2 years, to be honest. Doing nights, days, and stuff like that. So the first real memory that I have of this place was when I started uni in 2021, and I took a walk to go see, scout out, do a little recce trip of what was happening, what the water looked like, all the suspected spots, that sort of thing. And I remember walking down probably majority of the way. I remember coming round all the way on the back end stretch, and it was pad lined along the back margin, and then reeds and loads of snag bushes. And I come to this clearing on the towpath where it looked evident that it had been fished. And across in this massive tree was a little alcove. At this point the water was absolutely tap clear, and you can see the sandy gravelly spot that was on that back edge, and with my Polaroids on you can see it even clearer, and then all of a sudden this pod of carp just come swimming in. Must look at, haven't counted them, but looked like 7 or 8 fish just came in all together, all intermingling, like 5 from one side and then 2 or 3 from the other, and I was blown away. And I was like, in the back of my mind I was thinking, right, this when I start, this is the first place I'm gonna go. But as it happens, I didn't actually fish any of that year. It wasn't until my second year of uni that I actually started fishing it, and I brought all the kit and stuff. And from here on, I didn't have my bed chair, I didn't have my brolly with me. I only planned to do the days, get up super early, 4 or 5 o'clock, and walk all the way down to the spot.
Well, we've currently made the trek down the canal, started pissing down, so we're under the little bridge that's here. Just gonna wait for the rain to pass. It was not supposed to rain at 6:15, but weather forecast is always. However, I'm hoping the rest of it is because it's meant to be sunny. Sorry, can't see. It's meant to be sunny and quite bright. So hopefully this will pass, and then I can get on with my journey down to the spot. Oh my god. Right, send it.
So that was the plan. This was October 22. And so with my trusty 2-foot brand new 10-footers, my rucksack and my mat clipped to the back of me, I made the treacherous long walk all the way down to the spot, which probably took me best part of hour and a half. So that first session came in October, and I remember waking up crack of dawn, before the crack of dawn actually. It was like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Everything ready, just needs to, clip it up, get on, headphones in, and just gun it down to the spot. And it took me best part of hour and a half to get there the first time, which was a common thing because I was quite far away from the spot where I was living. And so I turn up to this area with the alcove in the snag bush, and the water at this point was crystal clear, and it just looked mega. You could see the spot glowing. I got the rods out, 1/2 ounce leads, just perfect drops, one in that alcove and then one to the right, which was where the reed stopped and the tree started, so it was like another little tiny alcove. I put it there, nice drop as well. Can't have been too long later, around maybe 4 hours later to be fair, I had a bite. Bobbin smacked to the top, hooped round, and before I knew it, it was in the tree and snagged me up and and fell off really. That's the long and short of it. But that just fueled the buzz even more, and I couldn't wait to get down in the next couple of days to do another day. I knew where they were. I knew where they were ish. I knew they'd be up for the bait, up for the rigs, that sort of thing. And it wasn't too long before I got down again. And as before, up at the crack of dawn, headphones in, got down to the spot. Again, the water was crystal clear, and I managed to flip the rods in the half light, pretty much spot on. So I got like 10 chops, flipped them about, and during the days putting bait out was a no-go because of the bird life, and either before light or after light you could get a bit out. So I managed to get a few out on both of them, just a little flick, like just to get a bit of smell in the water, something to, if they were coming along, make them drop. And sat back, made a tea, chilled out. Again, the water at this point was tap clear, so I was walking up and every now and again trying to see some, and then eventually I saw a few go through this little alcove. And I run my hands together thinking, oh, it's game on. It has to be game on. We're gonna have one. And I think they kept coming back and forth, left to right. There's probably 3 or 4 fish. And all of a sudden the right hander shoots up, hoops around, and I'm in. And I'm playing one in this crystal clear water, and it looks a mega common, proper nice one. And I get him in the net, and get him out. Pristine common, like he's never been caught before, absolute mega one. Proper darks, the crystal clear water. Real nice one. I think he weighed about 15 pounds. So real, not a bad fish. So I managed to get him back. And this was pretty early as well. It was probably an hour or 2 into light, so probably like 8 or 9 o'clock. And I get that rod out again. So I wasn't expecting another bite, and all of a sudden I just see this absolute ginormous carp goes across this spot, and it's at that alcove spot, and it's in between the trees, and it's going back and forth, and every now and again it'll drop and pick up a bait, and it'll carry on. And behind me there's like a little slope with a hedge backing onto it because the field's behind. Polaroids on, up the little slope, trying to get as much vantage point as I can to see straight into the water and see it. And I just remember it coming along, dropping down, and then just start shaking its head. And you can see the whites of its under its scales. And because this fish was so dark, you could see its scales flexing where it was trying to shake the hook. And the buzzer hadn't even sounded, and I shot down and picked into it. And luckily, I managed to get it, lead it straight towards me, so straight out of danger. And just in the crystal clear, it looked mega. It was black as you like, wide, and just a mega one in the water. I was gobsmacked. like 2 bites and fingers crossed land 2. I managed to net him. I get him out, undo the net, and
Look at that fish.
black scales, dark, wide, massive. I didn't even need to weigh him and it wasn't. That wasn't a big thing because
Oh my god.
every fish that I caught was so special, and it was the weight was pretty irrelevant if I'm honest. Anyway, I sacked him, weighed him up. He was 20-pounder. 20-pounder from a canal on my
It's so clear.
second session. After losing one, I was absolutely buzzing. And yeah, in the photos it just looked dark, deep, and pristine common carp, absolute proper one, real nice one. And yeah, absolute mega. So I get him back. I get him back all nice, and at that point I think I did leave. So I waited a couple hours and nothing happened. I didn't see anything. And then I'm pretty sure that was the middle of October. And from then I probably did quite a few days and blanked a lot. And so the rest of October, big blank, and then majority of November was a big blank. And one trip I remember, I fished a little bit more right, just some dying pads. I had one in between the reeds and some pads, and then one mainly on the pads a little bit further down. And the whole day went by pretty nicely, reeling in for the boats, getting them back out, a few more baits around. And then must have been 6-7 o'clock in the evening, and that right hand rod on the pads signalled a bite. So close to the pads as well, picked into it and just locked up, and I was gutted. A whole month without a bite, proper doing it. I think I probably did 10 days, proper hard graft, and then yeah, came out in the pads, and I was absolutely gutted. Again, it was horrifying. It felt a good one as well, just really a proper sickening feeling. And so after losing that one, I was proper gutted, like disheartened a lot. But it just fueled the fire even more because I knew what was in there. I wanted to catch them. So yeah, like I said, just lit the fire even more. And I think it must have been, can't have been long after, but I came back, fished that same sort of area, but in the alcove area. And I managed another one, nice common as well, a little bit smaller than the other two, but once again it didn't matter, it was perfect common, perfect mouth, lovely fins, like that, just a pristine common.
Same area where I've had the other ones. Look at that.
After that little common towards the end of November, it was Christmas time and term finished, so I went back home and then came back and started fishing in the January. And again, the water was tap clear, and one trip I just remember walking down in the pitch black, and something came over me that I wanted to have a look at this new spot, which was probably 100 to 200 yards, I say upstream, but up more right. Yeah, so this spot had a massive overhanging tree, and it was all snaggy up to the left, and then all the way up to the right. And I just remember getting there and thinking, I'm just gonna have a look. Obviously it's pitch black, got me head torch on, crystal clear, shone it down, and in this, not 2 foot from the bank, saw these 2 carp just sitting mid-water, just chilling out. Absolutely not spooked by the light whatsoever. They shuffled off, but then on, I dropped my kit quite quietly, left it there. As it was pitch black, I did leave it there and walked up to the alcove, the swim of the alcove in the snags, and had a little look. Couldn't see anything, so I was like, I'm gonna go back up and fish that little area. So that's now I've got 2 spots where the fish like to frequent, and I was pretty happy. I managed to get the rods out. I don't think I caught anything that trip, but I knew that that's an area that they liked. And this, yeah, like I said, this snag bush was absolutely huge. It probably was 4 foot deep, snags on the back end, all little bushes, and there was a branch in the bottom that you could see it with clear water. And I did a few trips in that area. There's one I remember, I set up and I was perched with the pearl rods on, and all of a sudden I just see this group of 5 carp coming from the left. And I was like, rods in the water, game on. And so, yeah, sat back, pure anticipation, willing the rods to go. And one of them did. It was a proper nice one as well. There wasn't much fight because there's not much water to fight in, and it's pretty, you have to be pretty quick. So I managed to get this one in the net, got him out, and on the mat he just looked like just a perfect common again. All these ones so far have been commons, and this one looked mega. Nice fan tail, nice mouth, nothing, like absolutely pristine, no nick marks, nothing. And I was absolutely buzzing, probably around 13, 14 pound, don't think I weighed him, but absolutely ecstatic, made up with him, got him back. And then it was a shock not long after, must have been half an hour, that same rod went on the left edge of the tree. And again, got him in, managed to get him in without any fuss, and it was this tiny little common. Proper character, massive head, but it thinned out towards the end and it had a tiny wrist of his tail. A proper character one. And from that, I fished that spot a few times, not to any avail. But a turning point in the story is that I saw, walking back, you come all the way around, turn a corner, and then all the way top to the bottom of the town. And at the bottom of the town, you have the basin. This basin is probably about half an acre in size, probably less, but it's got the deeper water. And it's where all the canal boats are, and the rowing boats, that stuff. So there's lots of cover. Real carp haven, if you like. There's no fishing bank on the other side or to protect the houses. And then there's like jetties and all that sort of stuff around it. And generally it's quite weedy. And I just remember walking back along the canal towpath and I just see this massive fish, white fish. And in this canal, the big one is a massive ghostie, low 30s. And so this fish looked 3 foot long, pretty wide just along the surface, and I was like, that's got to be the big one. And so from that point I planned to fish the basin, and this little area is only fishable before the 1st of April, and at this point it was beginning of March. I think I had 20 days until it closed, so I had to make the most of them 20 days. Obviously, knowing that it was weedy, I turned up armed with chods, the pink squid ones, pink and whites, the signature squids, pink and white. So the shape of the basin was a rectangle, and you would fish on the corner where it code onto the rest of the canal, and on that immediate diagonal to the far corner, that's where they kept the boats for the winter time. So the little rowing boats, and there was 2 buoys. Just obviously remember where they get put. So the first one was cast to the left hand of this mark on these boats, and then the other one was cast just to the middle between the 2. And I was like, right, okay, this is game on. At this point I had my bivvy, had my bed chair, so I was planning on doing the night. And all of a sudden, brought signal to take, and I'm pretty sure it was a bream. I caught a few bream from there because that's where they like to hang about. In the summer months, you can see them all, them black things just all in a group together, and you would see the occasional carp just swimming around with them. And yeah, managed a few bream on that first session, and then that same night the rod signalled enough to take. And fishing back leads, you don't really get screamers, you just get bobbin just goes to the top and line goes tight. And so I picked into it, and it felt a little bit better, and I was like, this might not be a bream. But you know, the bream were quite big, and they did fight on the 10 footers. They did give a bit of a head shake, and so I managed to get him in, got him about halfway, and then with the head torch on, I just see this. I can see it's a carp, and from where I'm standing, where my rods are, you can't really net them. It's a bit too far down. So you run around onto the jetty, get down, you're closer to the water, and you can net them from there. And I just remember playing them in this bit of water, rocking on the jetty, and I just see it comes up, the pink one in its mouth, hanging out, and it's just this absolutely mega half linear. I see him and I'm like, he gets in the net straight away as soon as I saw him. And he was the nicest carp that I caught from there. Absolute cracker, little pearly scales, real nice one, and one that I hadn't seen before, or haven't thought I'd seen anyway. Him up. I can't remember what he weighed, but again, didn't matter. It was an absolute looker. It was a nice, real mega one. Perfect mouth, the lot. Yeah, from then, that little bit of fishing closed, and you then had to fish around the other spots. And so, early April, get the kit down, shone the torch in the water, and it was just murky, horrible, some sort of green, disgusting tinge of biblical proportions. Really, it was horrid. Couldn't see anything. Yeah, absolutely horrible. April was blanked throughout April. Did quite a few nights to no avail. The water was the water quality was poor, very poor. Was murked up for the lot of it. Coming back hoping it would clear up, but just didn't. And yeah, that, what I suspected, caused April to be a dry spell. And so May comes around, and this is coming to my second year finishing up at uni, and so it's going to be my last couple of sessions on the canal. And so coming through May, after the April blank, and that first session, I go down to the little alcove swim. Again, water was still, actually no, the water clarity had actually improved, and you could see a little bit, but it was still, there was a tinge to it. And I've got the rods down, one in that little alcove and then one just to the side, and had my bivvy in this, probably in this little tiny, on this little piece of grass. So I was literally not half a foot from the water's edge, which was dangerous, very dangerous. I did a few nights there to no avail. I'm pretty sure I lost one, caught a tench, a few eels, that sort of thing. But there's one little bit that I remember waking up one morning, I think it was around 11 o'clock, and yeah, the one in the alcove swim locked up tight, bobbing to the top, and before I must have tripped and slipped on the mud, but somehow I ended up with 1 foot in the canal and 1 foot out, fully clothed, and I've got a video of this. I managed to get him in. Managed to get him in the net, and it turned out to be that little common that I caught up the other end. And that one with the bigger head, and then it came and sloped down with a little tiny tail. So the first recapture. So towards the end of May, it was coming to the time where I was finishing my second year of uni, and I was going back home for the summer. And at this point, I was obsessed with the canal, and I had to be there. So towards the end, I did quite a few nights, and I managed to have one in that fence swim, the massive snag bush. I remember getting him in the net, and the sun was coming up as well. It was a beautiful morning, and the sun beaming down, and all the oranges and greens. Just absolutely spectacular.
Look at that
Absolutely mega.
Don't know if you can hear me.
Proper nice one.
But what a stunner! Look at that. Mega one. Mega one. Spin around. Look at that proper carp. Pristine. Pristine, my friend.
And so that was it for that sort of year, if you like. So May finished, proper buzzing, and then I was conjuring up plans to outwit this big one, where it was going to be, how I was going to do it, and October came and the basin opened up, and my thinking was, I've seen it in there, it likes to get in there in the colder months, so I'm gonna get a bit of bait together, find a few spots, a few clearings in the weed, and pre-bait a little bit. So the end of September, the start of October, I found a few spots and baited them for a good couple of weeks, with peanuts, tigers and boilies. And at this point I decided to fish the opposite side, by the pavement.
So, I've just seen there's 2 carp down there, 2 pretty nice ones. There's about 3 or 4 over there. And I'm just watching them feed all over my bait. I'm so excited, they're actually fucking having it. They're absolutely having it. They are absolutely having it. Look at that, that's a big one right there.
There was an inflow pipe down to the right, and from that, there, on the immediate drop, you could see that it was all clear, and then it must have carried out a little clearing, like 12 foot from the bank. That was clean bait there. And then to the left, to the boats in the corner, just a scattering of bait all along there. And my thinking was, there's a clear spot, I was going to fish trolleys over them. And yeah, that was the plan. And then did a few short nights, a couple of hours here and there, got down 8 o'clock and then left between 2 and 3. And actually I managed a few, mainly from that right hand spot with the inflow pipe. I think I caught proper nice mirror, which was probably about £12, the biggest one from that little area, and a few little small mirrors, real nice, real dark ones, proper nice ones. Well, no, not big, all special in their own right, and they were proper, mega ones, perfect mouths. They don't get caught much, and yeah, it was excellent really. And then I found out that the big one had been found dead. One of the lads that had caught it before found it, which was sad because I thought I was real close, having seen it in that area. However, the plan going forward was to try and recapture that special one, the fish that I caught in March, and that was my new target. And so, as the months got colder, I went back on that bank and started to do the full nights. At this point I had 3 rods, so I had 2 on the boats and then 1 mid-water on a little clear area. And I managed to get a bit of bait in every other day. Just the same peanuts, tigers and boilies, spread them along the marks, and then this little clear area, just a short little flick mid-water. And so I settled down for the night one trip, and the right hand rod on the right hand of the boat's signal to take, and it was a tiny little common. Yeah, I caught a few little ones, a real nice leathery one, little leathery mirror, and thought it was game on. They're liking the bait. And so December came around, I did another trip, another night, and got the rods out. Again, that one in the mid-water, the left-hander, on a little hinge, little soft boom hinge, long soft boom, little 1-inch pop-up, matched the hatch with the manila that I was feeding, and it was quite late on. It was probably about 11 o'clock that rod then signalled to take, And at this point, I could feel that it was a lot better one. No head shaking to the other two. A real ploddy one. And I get him in. And in the water was pretty clear, so I shone the torch down. You could just see this bar of gold in the water. And at that point, it looked big there. And I had some inkling of what it was. I managed to get him in the net. He just surfaced. No fight. Just a gentle head shake. I managed to get him in the net. And it was the one I was after. A lovely common. 26-pound common. Got him out.
Look at that. That is a fucking enormous fish, mate. That is definitely one of the big ones.
Yeah, a real nice one.
This is one of the big ones in this canal. Look at that, boy. 25 pounds of absolute gnarly canal carp. Same tactics I've caught the other two absolute stellar ones on. Look at that.
And in a real nice way, sort of end the canal campaign really. After I caught that one in December, things at uni started hotting up. I was in the back end of my third year, so dissertation stuff had to get written. That took priority. Proper nice memories, proper nice. Who knows, I might go back. Who knows? Tight lines.